And a huge thank you to Purina for making community connection events like this possible through their generous financial support. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So this is just an overview of the topics that we're going to talk about today. So first, we're going to talk about what enrichment really is. Then we're going to talk about the types of enrichment, and then give examples of those different types of enrichment for cats and for dogs. All right, so enrichment allows animals to perform their natural behaviors. It can also help them be more active and increases their sense of control over their environment. So when we're talking about enrichment, it's really important to think about species specific behaviors and how we can facilitate those in our human environment, right? It's not a natural environment for our dogs and cats. So we have to think about how we can allow our pets to perform their natural behaviors despite that human environment. And that will help them to feel more satisfied, help them deplete their energy reserves in a healthy way, and overall leads to a happier animal. Okay, so first we're going to talk about some of our dog's natural behaviors. So these are a couple of pictures that demonstrate some natural dog behaviors like digging and swimming, chasing, right? And there are countless others like chewing or playing, grooming, foraging, and more than I can really even count, right? So there are a lot of natural dog behaviors that we really need to facilitate within our dogs. So this is what is called the predatory sequence, and it's a sequence of motor patterns or behaviors that are included in a hunt. So not all dogs will exhibit every aspect of this list, but it's important to keep the sequence in mind and give our dogs the opportunity to perform as many of these behaviors as we can in appropriate ways, right, without any actual prey animals involved. So you can think of this as maybe providing your dog with stuffed toys to dissect, or having a moving toy or a ball for them to orient to and stalk or chase. Right. So really just looking at this sequence and thinking about, what we can do for our dogs to help them engage in these behaviors that are natural to them. So some natural cat behaviors include things like grooming, kneading, climbing, scratching, and playing. You can see a really great picture of the cat's tongue in this picture for grooming. So that's a really important behavior for cats, and they spend up to 30% of their time doing this. So it's really something that we can pay attention to and help our cats uh, just do that and give them the space and the time to do that. So this is the natural motor pattern sequence for cats. This is, again, important to keep in mind as you're thinking about enrichment, because we really want to, again, allow our cats the opportunity to perform these behaviors in a safe way. And it's also really important, this order of behaviors, right? Cats that are living feral or cats in the wild will perform these motor pattern sequences in a specific order, right? And then we'll repeat them over and over throughout the day. Cats really like their patterns and their routines, and so allowing our cats to participate in this sequence will help them feel more satisfied and content on a day-to-day basis. All right, does anyone have any questions about what enrichment is, or what counts as a natural dog or cat behavior? Okay. All right, so there are many different types of enrichment, and today we're going to talk about five of them. These five types include sensory enrichment, food-based enrichment, environmental, cognitive, and social enrichment. So it's really important that our pets get access to all of these different types of enrichment on a daily basis. Okay, so we're going to start with sensory enrichment. So as we all know, there are five basic senses, right? Touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste. So some examples of sensory enrichment include introducing our pets to mirrors, right? An interesting visual, different noises that they might not have heard before, perfumes, essential oils, or other new scents, and then different types of substrate or surfaces to touch or rub against. So for some cat specific examples, we might engage their sight by turning on some cat TV or setting up a bird feeder outside for them to watch the birds moving around it. We might engage their sense of smell by introducing novel herbs like oregano or dill, and their sense of touch by giving them a variety of different types of scratching posts. It's good to be creative and vary the types of sensory enrichment that you're giving to your cat from day to day, so that they don't get bored with it, and really thinking about what interests your cat. They've got those amazing whiskers as well as another sort of sensory organ that we don't think about very much. But so thinking about different things that they can rub their whiskers up against, or feel against their fur. Those are other types of sensory information that they might really, really enjoy. For dogs, we might try things like playing them calming music or engaging them with squeaky noises and other fun sounds. We might engage their sense of smell by taking them on sniffy walks where their nose leads the way, or by bringing novel smells like maybe horse blankets or dog safe essential oils for them to sniff. Your dog might also enjoy things like a massage, or splashing around in puddles or leaping through the snow, right? Rolling around on carpets. All of those things are sensory experiences that our dogs really enjoy. And there's just so much to offer our pets to engage their senses. Does anyone have any questions about sensory enrichment and what that looks like for dogs and cats? Okay, so next we're going to talk about food-based enrichment. It's good to offer food in a variety of different ways, not just in the same old bowl day after day. Presenting food in new ways encourages our animals to work for their food. And introducing new food items can be a really fun and tasty experience for your pet. So you can kind of think of that as like the one day a year that you get your favorite birthday cake. That's what it might seem like to our animals if we give them something new and delicious to eat, or to smell. So here on this slide, we have pictured a licky mat there on the left. And that's something that is kind of a silicone or rubber mat that our dogs can lick soft or wet foods out of, right? And this is for cats too, right? Not just dogs. A cat's wet food can be provided on a licky mat, and that can take them a little bit longer to get their food. And we also have this little mouse toy that's got some holes in the back of it. You can put kibble in there or treats, as sort of a novel delivery system for your cats. All right, so first we're going to talk about cats. And yes, that is a cat in front of a jar of olives. This can be a fun and novel food for cats to mess around with. But it's important to make sure that any novel food items are unsalted and only introduced in very small amounts. So a single olive, not an entire jar of them. Any other sort of new foods that your cat might enjoy is another good way of providing food-based enrichment. But other types include just different types of delivery. So things like moving their food bowl to different areas so they need to search for it. You can start out easy, right? Pretty nearby to where their bowl usually is, and then gradually get further and further away from that typical spot. You can also, again, deliver their kibble in toys instead of a bowl, or even just scattered across the ground. So any of those different types of delivery or changing that up might be fun for your cat. But of course, being aware that cats like their consistency, not changing things up too much for them. And if they seem distressed, kind of going back to um, their usual location at the very least, so that they're familiar with that. If you want to try and start delivering their food in different toys, right? You can start by just maybe putting a little bit of their kibble in a new toy, and most of it still in their bowl, and just gradually change the amount, so that if you have a cat that's really sensitive to change, you're being aware of that as you're giving them more options with this food-based enrichment. For dogs, you can try giving them occasional fun foods like carrots or other vegetables or new types of meat, right? You can also, again, vary the type or the location of meal delivery. So you can put their kibble in toys or scattered across the ground. You can even deliver them sort of surprise treats for when they wake up from a nap or come home from a walk. In this video, you'll see two dogs are being given their meals in ball-shaped kibble dispensers. So it's important to note in this video, both of these dogs are in separate areas. So it's best to deliver food-based enrichment in separate spaces if you have multiple animals in the house, just to avoid any sort of arguments over food. You can see both of these dogs are going about their kibble dispensing balls in different ways, using their paws or their nose, going slowly or quickly. And this can be a really fun way for our dogs to get their. All right, does anyone have any questions about food-based enrichment? Okay. So next we're going to talk about environmental enrichment. Environmental enrichment stimulates exploratory behaviors, and it also encourages our animals to collect information from their surroundings. So this enrichment is mainly provided to prevent boredom and also keeps our animals physically healthy by encouraging them to be more active. So some cat examples of environmental enrichment include cat superhighways, right? Roads up off the ground that your cat can travel along, and also catification of a space by encouraging things like climbing, jumping, and also giving our cats access to vertical spaces, right? They like to be up high usually. You can also add new toys or hides to their space for additional enrichment. And in this picture here, you can see that this cat is up on the ceiling, but could easily jump from one platform to the next and get all the way back down to the floor via any of those numerous shelves and towers that you can see there. You don't have to go this all out for your cat, but providing ways for your cat to move around in high places and encourage them to jump and climb can really help to make them feel, more satisfied in their environment, and also just to let them have a really good time kind of jumping around in those spaces. To enrich our dog's environment, we can try changing up some things in their home environment to encourage exploration. That could include things like rearranging the furniture, adding new toys unexpectedly, playing games with them that encourage them to move over and under obstacles, and other things like that. We can also provide access to outdoor spaces and change up where we take our dogs when we go outside. So not always going for a leashed walk, but sometimes playing unleashed games in our backyard, or heading to a nearby enclosed park, anything like that. And then, as you can see in this picture, we can also provide pools or water for them in the summer, and allow them access to things like snow or mud in other seasons. Does anyone have any questions about environmental enrichment? All right. So next we're going to talk about cognitive enrichment. And cognitive enrichment encourages problem solving on different levels of complexity for our animals. So food puzzles are just one type of cognitive enrichment, but they're a really fun one. So I'll go ahead and play this video for you all.
Cats have evolved to be expert hunters. In the wild, they'd eat lots of small prey items every day, which means they have to spend a lot of time and energy getting enough food. Most pet cats, in comparison, have it easy. Being fed by people means getting food is no effort at all, and although this might sound good, it can mean that they become inactive and bored, which isn't great for their happiness or their health. But you can easily get your cat's brain and body moving by using puzzle feeders as a more natural way of giving them their food. Puzzle feeders come in all shapes and sizes and can be used with wet and dry food or treats. Here are top tips for getting your cat started with puzzle feeders. Number 1. To get your cat motivated to use a puzzle feeder, start by filling it with something extra tasty. Number 2. Prevent your cat from feeling frustrated by starting them off on a simple design, which is easy for them to get the food out of. Number 3. Whilst your cat is still learning, continue to feed the majority of their food in a bowl as usual. Just make sure you avoid overfeeding by reducing the amount to make up for any extras given in their puzzle feeders. Once your cat has mastered a simple design, you can start to gradually increase the challenge, and you can start to feed more of their daily food in this way.
All right, so food puzzles are, again, just one type of cognitive enrichment. But as you could see, the cats in that video were really enjoying that. And that's something that you can do with both cats and dogs. So in addition to food puzzles, something like training is also really good cognitive enrichment for our animals. So this is a video of a cat demonstrating some of the tricks that he's been trained to perform using reward-based training. So this is a great way to exercise your cat's mind and really get them to start using their problem-solving skills to figure out what you want them to do. Cats also really love this because they think that they are training us to give them treats.
Swim for your mama. All the way, swim. Yes, now roly-poly. That's such a good cat. Yeah, good job. High five. Oh, yeah.
So those are some simple little tricks that someone taught their cat to do, and you saw the delivery of the food at the end. If you're interested in clicker training with cats, we've just had a cat clicker training workshop, and we'll hopefully be offering more of those in the future. So that's something to keep an eye out on. Training is a great way to give cognitive enrichment to our dogs as well. So clicker training is the best and most effective way to train. Plus, it really motivates our dogs to participate. But not only that, you can also give your dogs some food puzzles too. Those aren't just for cats, to help them use their brains to access their food. So this video has some examples of different types of puzzles, but there are tons of cognitive puzzles out there for your dog.
Save your Amazon boxes, save boxes that you get packages in. I usually keep a couple on hand. What you can do with these is stick things in these. So put, like, for example, these tennis balls in there. If you fill this with tennis balls and then put treats at the bottom of this, your dog has to move the tennis balls around, take them out to actually get access to the food. If you have old newspaper, scraps of paper that is just, you're gonna throw away or is just lying around, you you can take that as well as a filler and drop treats in there, almost creating kind of a snuffle mat effect, but in a box. So you can do lots of different things in the box as well to make a fun enrichment game for your dog. So these are just a few of the enrichment toys that are on the market out there. There are plenty more that are not shown on this table. I know I have a lot. Being a dog trainer, I use these as examples for lots of my clients as well. You do not have to have this many. If you can have maybe, 3 or 4 of these and keep them on rotation with your dog, that'll keep them very interested in them, won't get bored with them, or they won't get too easy too quickly.
All right, so does anyone have any questions at all on cognitive enrichment in our animals? Okay. So lastly, we're going to talk about social enrichment. So both dogs and cats are social animals, and they really need those social interactions to feel fulfilled and satisfied. So this can be social interactions with members of their own species or with members of another species. So cats are social too, even though their sociality may look a bit different from dogs. Your cat may want or need cuddle time with another cat, or if they're young or rambunctious, playtime with another cat can be a lot of fun. If your cat doesn't get along with other cats, you'll kind of need to fulfill that social role for them. So offering that casual hangout time, instigating games of play with your cat, and really just being there to offer some of that social support. We all know that dogs are very social, and it's a great idea to give our dogs playtime with other dogs. So this can be at outdoor dog parks, indoor doggy daycares, or in play groups with specific other dogs. Oftentimes, your dog will get on well with some dogs, but not others. So setting up play dates with your dog and their specific friends might be a good option to meet with those dogs more consistently over time. It's really important not to over socialize your dog, and also to give them plenty of breaks, right, when they're playing, just to avoid them getting too excited or too out of control in their games. Play should be safe and fun for all the dogs involved. If you're interested in learning more about safe dog play, we are offering a community connection event on that topic soon. So definitely check out our website for more information on that. For dogs that don't get along with other dogs or really only like their family dogs, you don't need to take them to the park or force them to interact with other dogs. They might just be happier at home playing with you or sleeping nearby. You can kind of think of them like dog introverts, right? Sometimes exposure to other dogs is just going to be too much and they're not going to have a good time. So definitely, do what's best for your dog and what makes them the happiest. All right, does anyone have any questions about social enrichment for our pets? All right. So we're going to be sending out an email that gives some relevant resources and links to upcoming community connection events. So definitely take a look at that. And if anyone is looking for more specific behavior help, or if you're interested in our group classes, you can reach out to our behavior help desk at training@sfumanesociety.org or the number there on the screen. All right, are there any last questions before we close out? Okay, well, thank you all, and thank you again to Purina for making this community connection event possible. We really appreciate all of your support, and if you learned even one thing from this class that you found useful, please consider donating so that we can continue to provide these services free of charge to our community. Again, we really appreciate your time here, and I hope you got a lot of good information. So thank you all for supporting the Santa Fe Animal Shelter.